Hi, Dr. P here to talk about two very different kinds of games which I've characterized as Athleticware and Brainware. Athleticware relates to athletic-like requirements, physical skills. You could also call it physical wear. Usually this is in sports, or what we normally call sports, or in real-time video games, or esports. Brainware, on the other hand, is the word I'm using to indicate games that primarily require thought, although they may also require talking to other people. Certainly no exceptional physical skills. These are usually tabletop games and turn-based video games. Well, why is this important? Because it's two entirely different sets of skills, and only the brainware corresponds to generalship, which is what we tend to be interested in wargames. So, Athleticware requires physical skills such as eye-hand coordination, rapid movement, precise movement, what are called the fine motor skills. Most team sports require what are called gross motor skills, where you're using your whole body. Esports in video games recognize the existence of differences that make something that's done on a computer a sport. Many video games with the appearance of battle or warfare actually depend on these athletic or physical skills, as in the proverbial 200 actions per minute in StarCraft. I remember as a kid we played tank war games where we moved our tanks around in the basement or outdoors, and we actually threw objects at the tanks to determine whether we were hitting, rather than rolling dice. Well, video games don't use that particular skill set normally, but is it fundamentally different? It's a physical thing, not a mental thing. And of course there are physical tabletop games such as the English game Snap and the cheap-ass game Lightspeed. American football is both athletic and cerebral. It's a very cerebral team game, and yet the athletic counts for much more than the brain. And that's why college teams don't have a chance against pro teams. There are many ways we can talk about brainware, and of course we're going to use brainware throughout this course. Puzzles are a form of brainware. They have more or less always correct solutions. And so you can beat the game. And many single-player video games are actually puzzles. And there is a branch of game players who believe that all games are math. And they tend to think more in terms of puzzles and in solutions than the people who say that games are all about people, and they tend to think in psychological terms. Here I'll introduce briefly the term yomi, which is Japanese for reading the opponent's mind. It's something that doesn't do you any good in an all games are math sort of game or in a puzzle, but it can help you a lot in a psychological game. In this course we're interested almost entirely in brainware. That corresponds much better to generalship. And when you come down to it, as I hope I'll demonstrate as we go along, wargames are usually about generalship and command. They're not about the physical part of warfare. That's especially true on the strategic level that we're focusing on in this class. That doesn't mean these games can't have physical skills, just that the brain dominates. It's also possible that in tactical level games the brain may be less dominant, but we're confining ourselves here to a strategic level.